Ghana Means Business, brought to you by Goyle. Goyle, good energy.
Ghana Means Business. Your story, our message.
Bambara-Abban is a Scrum, Agility and Experience coach, trainer and consultant. He has over 25 years working experience in different and challenging environments. Bambara-Abban is the founder and convener of Agile in African Conference, a yearly business and technology conference held in Accra, Ghana, and Scrum Day London, a yearly Scrum event held in London, United Kingdom. He is a sponsor of Akaditi.com and SocoPay.com, a mobile money and mobile payment solution for the future for Africa.
The name of your company is Akaditi.
Yes.
Such a phenomenal name. What does it mean and what is the inspiration behind that?
So I am, a Pan-African, and for me, Pan-Africanism is a philosophy of recognizing every single African at home and abroad as African. All of these things inspire me, and I thought I'd like to have an organization that is African inspired, driven by technology, very agile, and at the same time as well has some meaning, connection to Africa. So the word Akaditi comes from a language in the northern part of Ghana, Guruni, a Frafra language, and it, when you translate it locally in local parlance, it's the chop. And if you take it to, you want to apply some very flowery Shakespearean sort of interpretation to it, it simply means incorruptible.
Oh, wow.
That we try and aim to do the right thing even when nobody's looking.
So did Akaditi start in Ghana?
It started actually in London.
Okay.
So, this was just
So you have an office in London?
We have a base in London, yes, and we're registered in the UK, and we're also registered in Ghana as well.
Wonderful.
And it started in the UK less than 10 years ago, roughly about 7, 8 years ago, and we thought, you know what, the vision behind this is really about, taking Africa to the next level. So that's why we actually moved to Ghana as well. Our headquarters, our head office, we organize Scrum Day in London. We also organize Agile in Africa events, Agile events in London and here. So we're really global, and also we're looking at Nigeria, Rwanda, Kenya. We're a very global organization, very Pan-African, and we're just really inspired by Africa and our sense of being who we are.
Great. Now, who is a Scrum Master?
Okay, so simply put, to describe a Scrum Master, I have to say what Scrum is.
Okay.
Scrum is an Agile practice.
Scrum is an Agile practice.
There are many different practices under Agile. Lean, Kanban, Scrum. We have different practices.
I thought Kanban was a Japanese...
Oh, yes,
okay.
yes. So Agile is almost like an all-embracing sort of concept, philosophy that gathers all of these practices together that help people, organizations to achieve more agility and to continuously improve. Most organizations cannot stop operations and then transform.
Right.
It's like asking an organization like Fidelity Bank, to say, we have to stop everything, so Mr. Efand, Mr. Opuni, we have to close the door and now let's stop the operations and then let's do transform. It doesn't work that way. Whilst the car is still moving, and sometimes the car is moving at 120 kilometers an hour and you've got a flat tire, you have to change the flat tire whilst the car is still moving. You can't stop.
That almost sounds like an oxymoron.
Exactly. So, so you need to keep the lights on. So how do you keep the lights on whilst you do the transformation? So this is the challenge that many leaders actually face. And what happens is that when you apply Agile and you apply, let's say, a management practice like Scrum to an organization, it helps you to prioritize, it helps you to organize the way the work is done, it helps you to also organize the people that do that work. So Scrum is a management practice, yeah? It's a management process that forces organizations or teams to deliver the highest business value in the shortest possible time.
Is there Scrum in rugby or something like that?
Yes, I mean, so when you watch a game of rugby and everyone's like huddled together, that's a Scrum.
That's a Scrum.
So I guess...
Is there any connection to this?
Well, I think this was, if I'm not mistaken, about 40 years ago. Professor Takuchi,
Okay.
if that's the right pronunciation. So all Japanese people, please forgive me. He wrote a paper about changing the game, the business game. And rather than taking the relay approach, let's take a scrum, let's take the rugby approach in scrum, where the whole team moves the ball together to the finish line.
As opposed to one person.
As opposed to one person with a baton running on their own to the finish line. So the whole team. So scrum. And looking at scrum as a management process where we have 3 roles in scrum. The scrum master, the product owner who owns what is being built.
Who is a scrum master?
Yes, is somebody who has learned scrum, supports other people to adopt scrum.
Are you a scrum master?
I am a scrum master.
How did you become a scrum master?
So I started working on the shop floor, as a developer. Didn't like it much, it was okay, and went into different roles, and then became a project manager. But I realized that I didn't really enjoy this old way of working, with Excel spreadsheets and all that, and just being micromanaged. I didn't like any of that. So I decided to start exploring, start thinking around what's the alternative. And so I came upon Agile many years ago, about 20 years ago, and started reading up and more. I said, I like this. I started playing around with my own idea of Agile, doing things a little bit faster, small team. And then I decided
in your private business?
In my own small way, and working for customers, clients, companies. And this was in the UK. And then I decided that I'll be a Scrum Master.
Wow.
So I went and studied, I did a course, and then I went for the training. I actually trained I worked for many years already as a Scrum Master, but in 2008 I went to Oslo, to meet a man called Ken Schwaber, who's the co-creator of Scrum. And so Ken actually, gave the training, and then I passed I got the certificates.
How long ago was this?
This was in 2008.
Oh, wow.
And then after that, I did many other Agile courses and work in different settings. But before I got into the world of Agile, I was also a management consultant. So taking my management consultant experience here, and organization design, and looking at the architecture of organizations and processes and practices, I naturally, I had to do the two. I couldn't just work with individual small teams. I needed to look at Agile and Scrum at scale. What about if you have 500 teams? What about if we made the whole organization Agile? What does that look like in terms of Agile leadership, an Agile board, Agile executives, Agile management, Agile teams on the shop floor? How can we make an organization to achieve more business agility using Agile practices and some exponential technologies? So coming from that team base and with my management experience, I combined the two together, top down, bottom up. And what we have today is using Agile to transform organizations, but also to help teams on the shop floor to adopt Scrum. So portfolio management, governance, and delivery is done in an Agile way.
Ghana means business. Your story, our message.
Every now and again, GhOIL makes good things happen. This time, GhOIL has introduced Super XP Run 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. GhOIL Super XP Run 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. GhOIL Super XP Run 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. GhOIL Super XP Run 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with GhOIL Super XP Run 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. GhOIL has that sorted. GhOIL, good energy.
Ghana means business. Your story, our message.
Nana, for you to work at this level of creativity,
yes,
and exponential thinking must require a lot of discipline. What prepares you for this as a person?
I think what prepared me was my experience. You know, I left home at 17. I said to my parents, I said, thank you very much after secondary school, goodbye. And I took a bus and went all the way to Sierra Leone. I wanted to be a millionaire before I was 20. That didn't quite work out. I was doing like looking for gold in the water. It didn't quite work out, you know. For those from Sierra Leone, they know Savage Square and a few other places. I used to like hang out there. And then I went a few couple of months later, then I went to Liberia, where then I decided that, okay, I want to try my hands at something. And you know, so I hitchhiked across West Africa, and then finally got back to the UK at the age of 19, and then decided that, you know what, I actually, you know, I want to take my life and do something different. I just cannot be same old, you know. I needed something different. I needed something that's going to challenge me. So hence the reason, because I've always been quite challenging as a kid as well, asking questions all the time. Why? You can't just tell me about Christ or about, you know, Prophet Muhammad or about, you have to give me some context. I needed to, you must believe in it. That's why. And so I've always challenged myself, hence the reason why.
What was the moment? What changed? What specific event changed your life?
Well, I would say that one of the greatest discoveries for me was really reading more and more and talking to, you know, my old man and talking to my brother.
Reading more about what?
Ancient African history. You know,
knowing yourself.
Yes.
Knowing where you came from.
Yes.
Your ancestors.
My ancestors. And having
your beliefs.
And my beliefs. And
your spirituality.
Exactly. And looking at these great empires and looking at who we are today and asking the question, why? You know, I see greatness because, you know, when I look in the past and I learn about all this great stuff, at that point, I decided that I cannot be the same. I must do something different. I also became, at one point, a vegetarian, a vegan, because I wanted to test myself. You know, I was brought up eating meat and different things, so I wanted to test myself. Apart from that as well, you know, I developed other habits in terms of daily meditation and being able to think about what did I achieve yesterday and what can I do better today. You know, so these things drive me every day, and having had exposure to some training.
The daily meditation, what else do you do to it?
Well, what I tend to do every day for the last 9 years, I used to do stuff before that, but then I decided 9 years ago when I went to one of my retreats to Gambia, a friend of mine, Banky in Gambia, invited me. I knew him from university in the UK from like the late 90s. And so when I started going to Gambia, on one of my trips, I was on the beach, and then I got inspired that one day I would love to give my kids something that they can read every day. And then, an idea came to me that, why don't you just compile or put together some daily motivational messages? And the name came to me, the title, the name, Reflections on Adinkra.
So you write that? Because I've been reading that every day from a mutual friend who sends that to me every day.
Well, I'm told now that over 2 million people read that stuff.
Reflections on Adinkra.
Yeah, and I don't really know if it's
that
true.
That is deep. That is deep. That is deep. Yeah. And you write one every day.
Every single day, I compile all of this stuff. I put it together, and so every day I wake up. You know, I have a body clock that wakes up at 4, sometimes 4:30. Sometimes when I go out a bit late, I wake up at 5 or 5:30.
After the single malt.
After the single malt as well. So I wake up a little bit later, but every single morning I do this, you know, writing. I pull together some motivational quotes. It's not religious. It's just really about life. So apart from being an agile coach, trainer, consultant, a transformation person, I'm also a life coach, and I coach executives, and I coach people about, you know, life issues, you know, and lessons. So Reflections on Adinkra goes out. I hear, and some people tell me they've got some numbers to probably a bit more than 2 million people. It's read globally, you know, China, Europe, everywhere. You know, people read about this stuff, and it's just my way of giving something to my kids, and then beyond that as well. They started sharing it, and then I started. Then some friends and some family, some brothers, I started sharing this stuff, and then sometimes I stop. for just a day. And then I get all these messages saying,
Yes.
where is it? You know, where is this message? And so, yeah, so
Yeah,
I've been
it's
writing
deep.
every
It's
day.
deep. It's deep.
It doesn't matter whether it's Christmas Day or whether it's a festival in the mountains, in a brie or some traditional
deep.
festival.
It's deep.
It doesn't matter what it is. Every single day, whether I'm in China, Mexico, it doesn't matter whether it's 2 a.m. there and 7 a.m. here, I have to make sure that the message goes out, because if I don't send it, and if it doesn't go out to everyone, I get into trouble. So it's a motivational thing, inspirational, that inspires me every day. It's a way for me to say thank you back to my creator.
Mankind is grateful for that. As a successful entrepreneur, would you say that success is a destination or is a continuous process?
Well, I would say that success for me is a continuous process. You know, it's definitely not a destination. We have different goals along that journey, you know, things that we like. You know, I saw a video about Mike Tyson just a couple of days ago where he was looking at all the belts that he had won he put it on a table in his house, and he says, useless. He says, all of these are just useless. This is nothing. And he said something really was quite profound. He says, you know, other things give me joy, like, you know, putting a smile on my kid's face, you know. So all of these things are nothing. So perspective, you know, perspective change. So it's a journey, and it's one of continuous improvement, what the Japanese call Kaizen. You know, this Agile stuff, I actually apply to my personal life. I have a backlog, a list of things I want to do. I can't do everything at the same time, so what do? I take a little, I work in it for a month, and then I see the results. So I plan it every day, I check into my plan. At the end of the month, I do a review of what I've done. Then I do a retrospective, a reflection. I take all of this, so we live it. It's not something, it becomes a way of life. And this is how I have become a high-performing individual, simply because I have applied Scrum to my life.
Now, what is transformation? I mean, I hear the word being thrown around, transformation. What exactly is transformation, and how do you embark on this process?
So for some organizations, transformation is about achieving their vision. You know, they've not been able to achieve their vision, so they want to achieve that vision. For other organizations, they want to basically adopt new technology. You know, so they're thinking we really do need to replace our legacy system. Okay. Some organizations think our processes need to change. Some are thinking the services we're offering the market, they're not that great, so we want to transform. So some of them might actually be a very big, laudable idea, a dream, a vision that they want to try to achieve. Others could be very practical, daily stuff that they need to do. Now, from that position where you are today, you realize that you have a gap, and you want to cross over to, you know, to the other side. You want to move from good to great. And so the way I see transformation is the ability to be able to recognize what your North Star is, and then how to reach there, you know. So of course there are different ways you can reach that North Star, or to, you know, to move from good to great, you know. And
does it require leadership, or is it more of a team effort? Who really should be at the head of the transformational process? Is it the team or the leader? And is there a part of it whereby if there's not a buy-in by the leader who's leading the transformation process, you are definitely designed to fail? Is there that challenge in transformation?
Absolutely. If you're talking about transformation, transformation is something that must be determined by the leader.
Okay.
If the leader does not actually state why, the big why, the purpose, and to say it with passion and conviction, and to live it as well, you know, if that leader does not actually you know, give the purpose behind it, you know, and provide that vision and that sense of urgency, you'll have a situation where those who are working around the leader will not be able to execute.
Ghana Means Business. Your story, our message.
Every now and again, GhMeansBiz makes good things happen. This time, GhMeansBiz has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. GhMeansBiz Super XP Run 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. GhMeansBiz Super XP Run 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. GhMeansBiz Super XP Run 95 gives you a smooth driving experience that is less vibrations. Fill up with GhMeansBiz Super XP Run 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. GhMeansBiz has that sorted. GhMeansBiz, good energy.
Ghana means business. Your story, our message.
Why is change so scary? I mean, for people in the public sector, private sector, state institutions, what is it about change, based on your experience, that scares people so much for them to make that decision towards a transformation? Why?
Immediately people hear change, what comes to mind first of all is, what am I going to lose? Not what am I going to gain? Just like I said earlier, we look at Uber and Airbnb, Spotify, we look at all these great organizations, and you know, we don't ask these organizations as to how they do it. We just see what they do. We don't say how they do it. So many people always think about what they stand to lose immediately and not what they stand to gain first. You know, so we always come at things that we don't know from a fearful place. We always fear what we don't know. And just like our survival instinct.
How do we overcome that as a people?
Well, I think that if we're talking about Ghana,
yes,
we need to be a little bit more objective in the way we approach things. So we need to take on a bit more courage to ask questions and not be timid that we can't challenge an older person or an older person can't challenge somebody else. We need to be a little bit more, not challenging per se as in a
respectful way.
In a respectful way. Many of
objective.
Objective. And many of our people in Ghana, the way we're brought up is, you know, when somebody tells you something, we accept it.
True. From
the classroom all the way through to university, right into the job.
So we should be more inquisitive.
More inquisitive, you know, and I think our children and many young people are beginning, that's the generation in which they're in. They keep asking you why.
That's true.
No, why? Mm-hmm. Why should I do that?
Yes.
And you think they're being this because you couldn't ask your dad the same thing.
That is true.
So you kind of think, why the hell is he or she asking me that question? You know. But then you remind yourself, this is the millennial age. You know, the millennials, you know, and they're not being disrespectful. It's just that they have so much information, but they don't have the maturity, the experience. So, but they have the information and they have an idea. So they'll question you, and it's your job to actually help them to understand.
That's
so,
true.
to a large extent, our society, we need to be a bit more open. Mm-hmm. We're a bit closed because of religion, and in order to be Ghana first, we need to be, and in order to be more agile, and in order to be more exponential, we need to be more open-minded.
That is true.
And to look at our problems together, you know, and by being open-minded, if the party in power sees that somebody else, you know, is one of the best scientists in a particular field of medicine or agriculture, and is a great scientist, or engineering, and the person says, I'm an NDC voter or opposition voter, it doesn't matter. It's their right.
Bring him on board.
Bring the person on board. They might think that, oh, this is really naive because they can sabotage your project. But if you have the right management process in place, which makes everything transparent, makes everything empirical, and makes everything very visible, like working in Scrum or with Kanban, when you can basically make everything very transparent and everyone knows what they're doing and the team is working together, then one person cannot sabotage. You bring the best brains on board. You know, so the fact that one person does not go to a political rally does not mean that they don't support.
That is true.
You know, so we need to really get out of that mindset.
That is true. Nana, in Ghana, the youth population represents close to 40%. Across Africa...
Some say even more.
Yes. Across Africa, is 45%. Our youth is our future, our greatest asset, young, strong, and vibrant. To the youth in the diaspora, to the youth in Africa, and specifically to the youth in Ghana, what is your message to them?
Our young people need to be more assertive. They need to understand politics and how the political system works. We need to, or they need to actually understand how the economic system works. But essentially, what will make all of this come together is that they have to know who they are. They should look deep into themselves and learn a little bit more about, the greatness. A people that have no knowledge of their history, their great history and culture, is like a tree without roots. And that's a statement from Marcus Mosiah Garvey.
That's right.
And so we need to give the people, or the young people need to actually have a strong sense of identity, because that is what will define the quality of what you do. So without that strong sense of identity, you won't get very far. Because I think that's what gave me confidence, that's what gave you confidence to be who you are, to go through all the organizations you've been through, like myself. We need to have that strong sense of identity. And it's online. That information is online. And perhaps you just need to have some mentor, to help them to work through that. Apart from that, they also really do need, and I'm probably saying this not for any other purpose apart from national development or Africa development, they need to embrace the concept of Agile, because this is a way of thinking, a way of working that really allows you to begin to challenge the traditional way of doing things. In fact, many organizations today, venture capitalists, are looking at funding startups, and if they're not agile, they're not going to fund them.
That's true.
And again, they need to think about technology. Young people love technology. I really do feel that young people should stop thinking about just becoming employees. They should become employers. They should create businesses, small organizations that they can grow or can deliver value to people. Let's take Uber, for example. Apart from the idea of Uber is taxi, but what did they do different? They went to Google Play Store and put the app in there, the App Store and put the app in there, and also Messenger, Facebook Messenger. They got the apps in there. Mm-hmm. So everyone around the world can download the app. Then they have Google Maps for navigation, driver navigation. Then they have something called AWS, Amazon Web Services, where all their technology, backend, server, architecture, all the things they need in order to provide those services to people is all in there, the code, their technology. And then they have payments. Samsung Pay, they have Google Pay, you have Visa, MasterCard, and other payment platforms like M-Pesa, or now we're going to do Soko Pay from what we do here. So what do? They just leverage on these technologies. These technologies don't actually, for those who are working individually or in small groups, they don't cost much at all. In fact, some of them are even free services that you can, some of them as little as $10 a month, And so young people really do need to start thinking more about becoming employers, creating startups. Google, Apple, all of them were startups, And of course, looking at Jeff Bezos, Amazon, I hear he's now the richest man in the world.
That is true.
Guess what? He's an agile leader, but apart from that as well, he has an organization that was once a startup. Mm-hmm. That was once a startup. So I really do want to encourage more of our young people, to seize opportunities. There's agriculture, there's land to farm, there's apps that they can build, and there's so many things. They don't need to wait. They just need to be inspired.
Nana Bambara-Abban, it's been a singular privilege to have you here on GhMeansBiz. Thank you so much.
Nana Pambuo, thank you very, very much for inviting me over. This has been one of the best experiences of my life, to be honest. I don't usually do media, but I decided that this particular one, I wanted to do this because I really do believe in what you're doing.
Thank you so much, sir.
Congratulations to a job well done.
Thank you.